Hi guys, welcome to this one. It's your boy again, Ajala the Traveller. This is about a personal experience. It's something that happened to me at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. For those of you that visited my channel the past weeks, you would notice that I was away, to Nigeria. Yeah, on the day that I was billed to come back to Europe, I went to the Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. At the check-in counter of the Turkish Airlines, which is the airline with which I had flown to Nigeria, they requested for a PCR test result, which I had. It is no longer news that to travel to anywhere around the world now, you require a PCR test result. And some countries have taken it a notch up. Amongst them is the Netherlands, they require an extra test result, which is called the rapid antigen test result, that has to be conducted 4 hours before boarding a plane to the Netherlands. And luckily something happened. I was actually billed to come back about 3 weeks earlier, but I decided to extend my stay in Nigeria. Of course, the weather was nice, it was sunny. So when I called the ticketing office to reschedule my flight, I spoke to a Turkish national. So she intimated me about the fact that the Netherlands requires this extra test and that the test could be done at the Istanbul airport. I said, okay. So on this particular day when I got to the airport, I was asked for both the PCR that is required by Turkey and the rapid antigen test that was required by the Netherlands. So I told them at the Turkish Airlines check-in counter that I'm only supposed to provide you with the PCR test that is required by Turkey. That is enough for me to be taken to Turkey. The onus is now on the Turkish authorities to make sure that I have the rapid antigen test result before boarding a flight from their country to the Netherlands. Oh, but these guys refused. Oh, they say, oh no, that is the requirement. If you don't have it, we're not going to check you in. We're not going to board you. So while we were arguing, a lady had a conversation. She's a Nigerian lady, but she lives in the Netherlands. So she spoke Dutch to me. She asked if I was going to the Netherlands. I said yes. She asked me to follow her. So we took about, 10, 20 steps away from the check-in desk. She now told me that she was also asked for the same rapid antigen test result. And because she did not have it, they now gave her contact details of a fixer. Yes, you heard me good, of a fixer. So I now called the phone number, sensing fully well that these guys would not board me. They would not give me a boarding card if I did not oblige. The guy agreed to fix it for the sum of 20,000. So I told him the lady that gave me the contact details told me that he fixed it for 15,000 naira. He said, yeah, after he did that one, the Turkish airline staffs rebuked him. They said it was too low. So as a result, it's going to be 20,000 flat. I said, okay, he should go ahead and fix it. So he requested for my name, my age, date of birth, and then he said the result was going to be ready in 25 minutes. So while I was waiting, I realized that the guy actually works for the Air France, and their counter was just a few meters away apart from that of the Turkish Airlines. And they had a European supervisor. So I went to the supervisor. I asked him if they had passengers that were heading for the Netherlands on that particular day. He said yes, that as a matter of fact, majority of their passengers are heading for the Netherlands. So I asked about the antigen test requirements. He said most of them, he said hardly anybody presented the antigen test result, but they will be mandated to do it at the airport in Paris before they can board the flight to the Netherlands. So they do not, it is not compulsory that people provide the antigen test result at the Lagos airport. So armed with this information, I went back to the Turkish airline check-in desk. I requested to speak to the supervisor. He came and I was telling him what the lady that changed the flight ticket for me at the Turkish airline told me about, you know, undergoing the test at the Istanbul airport, and what the supervisor of Air France had told me. He said, well, that is a different airline, this is our requirement. And so while we were talking, my nephew that accompanied me to the airport, he came and gave me a tap on my shoulder. He whispered into my ears that the guy says the test result was ready. So we went to the guy. He took us to a small cyber cafe that was operating at the airport. So apparently they have somebody sitting somewhere in the city that, you know, fixes this thing. They already have a letterhead of a medical center that was recognized by the government. They have their letterheading, so they just impute your details and they send it to the guy's phone. He takes it to the cyber cafe, and this fake test result is printed out. So he printed it out for me. I took it to the Turkish airline counter, and they checked me in. Guys, let me show you the fake antigen test result. That is the test result that the guy fixed for me. You know, so with this fake test result, I was checked in. So what those guys are basically doing at the airport is antigen test result racketeering. The Turkish airline guys are in cohort with this Mr. Fixer. So they checked me in, they gave me my boarding card, and then the guy gave me his bank details to pay the sum of 20,000 naira into. You know, but of course I had my own plans. So I made my way through the immigration and customs. When it was time to board the flight, you know, if you're a Nigerian or if you ever been to Nigeria, they usually have these check-in, last checkpoint at the tube just before you board the plane. So a guy accosted me and asked for my documentation. I presented him with everything I had. So another of his colleague was whispering in his ears. I think what he was telling him was, this guy owes us money, ask him for the money before he boards the flight. But the guy didn't get the memo. So he let me through, and I went into the plane. Just as I made my way to my seat, the Nigerian lady that had given me the contact details of Mr. Fixer came to me. She said they accosted her and were asking after me because I had not paid the money. So I told her to tell them that it has been transferred, that it was probably due to internet network, that it has not reflected. So upon arrival at the Istanbul International Airport, there was a place set up for people traveling to the Netherlands to undergo the rapid antigen test. I submitted myself for the test at the cost of 175 Turkish lira, which was, it came to about 20 euros. So I did the test at the Istanbul airport before proceeding to the Netherlands. The irony of this story for me is the fact that while all this was going on, other travelers on that particular airline to the Netherlands that overheard what we were talking about, they looked the other way. They didn't pay me any mind, as if what I was arguing for concerns only me. And this has always been, the position of most of us as Nigerians. We always think that it's not our problem, it's not our fight. As a result, we just look away. And I think that is why the shabby treatment that we have been meted with at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport still persists till date. Because we do not act collectively, we do not speak up collectively. And we have to know that it will take collective will and action to put an end to the irregularities, the illegalities, and the injustices that is being perpetrated to travelers using that corridor. This take my mind back to one of my travels to Nigeria. Upon arrival, we were at the queue, the immigration queue to be precise. We noticed that a lot of officials go behind the queue to bring either relative or acquaintances to the front of the queue, and they are being attended to before those that were legitimately waiting their turns. So a guy at the back of the queue started complaining bitterly, and he started raising his voice. I was at the front of the queue. They attended to me. I went to the baggage belt waiting for my luggages. The next thing I realized was this particular guy was being manhandled. The guy was eventually bundled. 4 people carried this guy. They were carrying him out of the airport, only God knows to where, and without his luggages, while the rest of us looked away like it wasn't our fight. It doesn't concern us. I think as diasporans, it is time that we make the people at the airport at Murtala Mohammed International realize that we are partly the reason why they are there and why they are employed. And as a result, we should be treated with respect, because this only happens at that airport. And we matter as diasporans. Next to crude oil, diaspora remittance, it's what's, carrying the economy of Nigeria. In 2019 alone, the diaspora remittance was $17.56 billion. So if we act collectively, we show our displeasure, I think the authorities will take note and reprimand these guys. It is time, because only a collective will and collective action will change what is happening at that airport. And it happens to be the only airport, the only international airport where people are being treated with disdain, with contempt, with, you are approached with arrogance. It's like some of them are even angry at us. I think they see us as those that got away. For whatever reasons, I don't know. This treatment or, this type of irregularities does not happen at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. And I think the reason is because Abuja happens to be the seat of power, and as a result, there are so many powerful men in that city. And authorities at the airport, the employees, they have to be careful because they don't know whom they are dealing with. They could be just one phone call away from the sack or from a query. So they are being mindful. You're treated with respect, and I don't see why it should differ from what is obtainable at the Lagos Murtala Mohammed International Airport. After all, it's the same country. We have the same laws. So I think it's time that we, the travelers, we the diasporans, start taking to social media to air our grievances about any type of unjust treatment that we get from these employees and authorities at the airport. It is only by doing so that we can get the attention of the authorities, the people that can help us fix what's going on, the broken system that we have at that Murtala Mohammed International Airport. So guys, that's what happened. So like I have said, it takes collective will, collective action. If you're treated shabbily, unjustly, rudely, and you have a connection, you're connected to the big wigs up there, place a phone call, make it public, less name and shame, perhaps someday sooner rather than later, we'll get Murtala Mohammed International Airport of our dreams. Upon arrival, I got in touch with Turkish Airlines. I sent them an email. I wrote them on Twitter. So they replied asking me for more evidence. I furnished them with all the evidences that I have. They got back to me. They said they've identified the guys that I described and mentioned, and they have issued query. They apologized, and they told me that those guys are not directly under their employment, but under the employment of Lagos Airport Staff Management Authority, something like that. And the lady that had given me the contact of the fixer called to tell me that the fixer called her. He was asking her to beg me to apologize to me, that I should withdraw my petition, that query has been served, and so the lady was actually pleading on his behalf as well. I said, well, they should have thought about it before embarking on the illegality. So it was too late for me to actually do anything about it. It's completely out of my hands. So I'm glad that the Turkish authorities took measures to correct these abnormalities. And so it's a testimony that, if we call out this type of behaviors, the authorities are willing to listen and make amends. Thanks for watching, guys. It's your boy Ajala the Traveller. Until I see you on the next one, have a good evening, good day, good morning from wherever it is you're watching from.